Some of our earliest camp weekends were at Raintree Ranch. There, we baked challah according to Abra's recipe. And we learned Israeli dancing from Michael Zeldin and helped Uncle Mickey write songs. Eventually, we expanded to Camp Cuyamaca.
Hebrew Camp was the weekend educational retreat that was done for 4th and 5th graders that was run by the Madrichim program. And it was just one of those weekends that you looked forward to every year. I mean, you marked it, you made sure that you didn't go. I think I missed school dances in order to make sure I made Hebrew Camp. I did whatever I could to make sure that I was there at those weekends. And it was just one of those places where for a weekend, the Madrichim was in charge of 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th graders, and they just had this added level of responsibility that you would never get anywhere else. And it was just such a blast to be able to connect with kids and teach them outside of the classroom and to be entrusted with that responsibility.
Before our camp weekends, I would meet with the Madrichim to develop the theme. They especially enjoyed our historical reenactments, such as the Exodus from Egypt, the giving of the Ten Commandments, the raid on Entebbe, escape from Akko prison, and the British Mandate. On the day of camp, we'd all meet at the buses. The Mitts would load the buses and the Madrichim would greet the campers. On the bus ride to camp, we would show fun movies. When we arrived at camp, we would all meet together to introduce the staff and the Madrichim. We would learn quiet techniques and practice them. Then they would be assigned to the cabins to get ready for Shabbat. We would begin with Shabbat services, followed by candles and Kiddush. The Madrichim would then introduce the silverware song. Tzalachat, kos, mazleg, mapit, sakin, kapit. Now let's repeat. Tzalachat, kos, mazleg, mapit, sakin, kapit. It's time to eat. After a yummy Shabbat dinner, we would have a fabulous song session and then lead into Israeli dancing. Then everyone would go back to their cabins, and the Madrichim and Mitts would have meetings to plan for the next day. On Saturday morning, after breakfast, we would go down to the amphitheater for a beautiful Shabbat service. The Madrichim would be invited for an aliyah and to read Torah. Following services, the Mitts would set up stations to teach Hebrew words. This way, they would get practice in how to manage a group and teach. The rest of the camp would stop at each station to learn those words. For the rest of the day, we would have group activities, such as the ropes course, hikes, art, etc. Some of their favorite art activities were Jessica's bracelets and a cookie map of Israel. We would all meet together for lunch, followed by afternoon activities, and then Seudah Shlishit. We would then divide the campers into 6 groups for our famous Ivrit Chaya section. During this time, each group would be assigned 3 words, and they would have to dress up and have skits to show how those words worked in Hebrew. So for example, if a group got the word chama, which means butter, they would do a skit and perhaps dress up as a mother and a kid and say, chama, pass the butter. And then everyone would go, oh, I get it. Ich omrim butter. Be'ivrit, how do you say butter in Hebrew? Chema. And then everyone would say, Haya tov, haya tov, haya tov, me'od, me'od. That way, we would learn many, many Hebrew vocabulary words. After dinner Saturday, the madrichim and counselors would prep for the evening program. As the cabin groups traveled from station to station, they would meet a character from Jewish history. Through these reenactments, they would learn about various historical events. Then we would all gather for a review and snack. That evening, the madrichim and mitz would have a fun party to thank them for all of their hard work. The next day, we would pack up and head home.
I think one of my favorite moments from Hebrew camp was the year that, as a madrich, I was able to lead one of the education programs. Madrichim is about youth empowerment, and that means that each group of madrichim get to lead. It's not just for the adults to do, it's for our youth to do. And I remember as a student seeing my madrichim leading educational program, and I paid way more attention there than I ever did during any other program. But then when I became a teen and I got to develop and lead at that program of our students leaving Egypt and making the exodus towards the promised land, and I saw all of our kids actualizing and physicalizing this experience, it was this moment where I realized that I could help lead the next generation as well.
You know, having someone like Ima say, I believe in you, that we can take kids out to the mountains for a weekend and you're gonna be able to connect with them and you're gonna be able to teach them something that they can't get anywhere else, and you're the person that can do that. The best memories for me were just those weekends at Camp Fox and then Camp Mountain High, and they were just amazing because I went from being madrichim working with kids to becoming the adult working with the madrichim, and it was just really great being able to help these kids become leaders and be able to see that progress.
השיר השמח בחלקו, איזה הוא גיבור גיבור הכובש את יצרו, איזה הוא חכם חכם הלומד מכל אדם, איזה הוא חכם חכם הלומד מכל אדם, הלומד מכל אדם. לה 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 La 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 la